Is Baker Mayfield the most clutch player in the NFL right now? On Sunday, the Tampa Bay Bucs fell behind 27-26 with 2 minutes left on a blocked field goal returned for a touchdown. That didn't worry Baker Mayfield, as he was able to drive back down the field for the third week in a row under 2 minutes and set up a game-winning field goal for Chase McLaughlin. Luke, you wrote for AthlonSports.com saying that Baker Mayfield keeps making last-minute magic for the Bucs. What has stuck out to you this season about Baker Mayfield?
I mean, honestly, it's the same stuff that has stuck out about him since he came to Tampa, and even some of the things he showed when he was healthy and had an actual supporting cast in Cleveland. The one year he had that, they went 11-5, and he went to the playoffs and won a playoff game. So, Baker, I think, has grown into the best version of himself, where the things that make him special as a competitor, as a leader, as a playmaker are flourishing, and the things that everybody was concerned about in terms of maturity or really that was it, I think, in terms of his and maybe physical limitations as a shorter guy who's not super fast. He's learned how to mitigate and eliminate the negative parts of his game, and he's learned how to maximize what he does best and what makes him special. And so I think what's interesting about him is this guy that he's not a 6th or 7th round, underdog story. The guy went number 1 overall. He's got the arm. He's always had a knack for making these clutch, big time plays. He's a guy that worked his way up from walk-on to Heisman winner to number 1 overall pick, but the talent has never been the issue. And I think what has separated him is the Bucs have allowed him, and they've talked about this. Baker's talked about it. The team has talked about it. They're encouraging and allowing him to be himself. And who he is proving to be a really special football player. And I think when you look over the last few weeks, the way he plays in those moments, he's had 4th down scrambles for first downs, I believe in all 3 of those games late in the game, where he just disappears into a host of bodies in the pocket and somehow emerges and runs and makes a first down. He's making really clutch throws. He's making clutch throws to guys like Ryan Miller and Sterling Shepard and yesterday's game-winning drive at the end. You have to understand this is a team that was down 23 or that was up 23-6 in the 4th quarter, and then they watched it all disappear. And then in the craziest way possible, they went to kick that field goal. They would have gone up by 9 with 2 minutes left and had a 2-score lead, and it would have been okay, we're good. They literally have a blocked field goal returned for a touchdown, and now you went from being up 23-6 to down 1 with less than 2 minutes to go. And the mental toughness it takes as a quarterback and as a leader to, after all of that, lock in and say, I'm still going to lead this team down the field, I'm still going to win this game, and to do it without Mike Evans, who left the game before that with a hamstring injury. You're already down Chris Godwin. And this is, I'll speak to the entire 3-game run. The Bucs are 3-0. They've yet to play with Chris Godwin. They've yet to play with Tristan Wirfs, their all-pro left tackle. Sunday's game, none of the offensive linemen were playing in their normal spot or their normal starter. There were only 2 starters on that offensive line, and neither of them were playing the position they normally do. Graham Barton, who normally plays center, was playing left tackle, where he played some at Duke in college, but that's not his spot. He's filling in for Tristan Wirfs. Ben Bredesen,
that left tackle tape at Duke was no bueno.
I know. I knew you had to mention that. I knew you did. Ben Bredesen, who's normally their left guard, is at Barton's spot at center. Their 2 guards on Sunday were Elijah Klein and Luke Haggard, who making their first starts in the NFL and haven't started yet for the Bucs, obviously. And then right tackle Luke Gedeke is on injured reserve. He left the game last week early against the Texans. And so they've got Charlie Heck out there at right tackle, who was so bad at left tackle that they made Barton switch out to left tackle from center when Wirfs was out. So they're not really thrilled with having him out there. All of these moving parts, all of these injuries, all of the adversity of losing that comeback and having everything fall apart in the last few minutes, and to still be able to lock in and go down and lead that drive, to make those throws, to make those plays. He had another couple of big runs on Sunday. And to set it up and just get the job done again. The Bucs have won all 3 of their games by a combined 6 points this year. And I want to I'm gonna call out Drew Brees here, because I've seen Drew Brees say this twice in the last 2 weeks. Drew Brees went on Kay Adams' show, and he's like, who really scares you in the NFC South? The Bucs and the Saints are basically the same. Then the Bucs go 2-0, the Saints go 0-2. He goes on Fox pregame and says it again, the same.
The only difference between them and the Tampa Bay Bucs is the Bucs found a way to make a play at the end of these last 2 games and win. The Saints had opportunities.
Yeah, that's kind of how it works, Drew. That's kind of how it works. You either find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Bad teams find a way to lose. Good teams find a way to win. And the only difference between the Bucs and the Saints is the Bucs have won all their games and the Saints have lost all of their games.
I'm surprised the Saints could even find their plane from Seattle back to New Orleans after what the Seahawks did to them. That was nasty.
Absolutely. And so, Baker, I think, is just really coming into his own. They're allowing him to maximize what he does well. They're mitigating any really weaknesses he has, which at this point, there really don't seem to be a ton because he's winning with his legs when he needs to. He's making sound decisions with the football. Last year through, I think, 16 interceptions. I think he led the league in interceptions among all, full-time starters. He is one of 3 quarterbacks at this point. I know we're recording this on a Monday, so the Ravens and Lions haven't played yet at time of recording. But right now, there are 3 quarterbacks in the NFL that have thrown at least 5 touchdown passes and no interceptions. They are Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Baker Mayfield. So Baker is making high-level clutch plays as both a runner and a passer. His team is undefeated. He's led them to 3 straight game-winning drives in the final minute, which has never happened before. He's the first quarterback to ever do that since the merger in 1970. So if you're going to put those numbers on the table and take the names away, you're going to say, wow, a guy who's winning with his arm, winning with his legs, winning in the clutch, his team is undefeated. That's an MVP candidate to me. Josh Allen belongs in that conversation. Lamar Jackson does. I think Baker Mayfield does as well. And especially if the Bucs continue to have to navigate these injuries. I know they've got a really tough stretch coming up. They've got to play the Eagles. They've got to play the Seahawks on the road. They've got the Lions. They've got the 49ers. They've got the Patriots. It's going to be a tough road. But the way Baker's playing right now, he's as much of an MVP candidate as anybody, especially because of what he's working with.
I think he's doing more with less right now, all the injuries you mentioned and waiting for people to come back. He's doing more with less than just about any other quarterback. Under pressure this season, he's been phenomenal. He's been good under pressure for a number of years. I know in the offseason, he said with Grizzard as the new offensive coordinator, they wanted to throw the ball deep more. Well, he had 20 completions of 20 more air yards in the entire 2024 season. This year so far, with all the offensive line problems, and obviously, deep passes take longer to complete, so it puts more of a tax on the offensive lineman. He's already completed 6 deep passes for 155 yards and 3 touchdowns. Emeka Egbuka has been a revelation. Right now, he's the offensive rookie of the year to me, full stop. And I wanted to mention one 2-yard quarterback scramble. Luke, I know you're going to know which play I'm talking about. 2:52 left in the second quarter. Baker actually has a fairly clean pocket, but there's nothing downfield. There's a 2-receiver route to the backside. He broke 5 tackles on a 2-yard run. That, to me, is the ultimate expression of the positive impact of Baker's YOLO when the good YOLO comes out. And there always is going to be some YOLO with him. But you mentioned Bruce Arians before. I would have loved to have Bruce Arians as Baker Mayfield's coach because Arians never wanted to coach the YOLO out of a guy. He's like, all right, okay, I see that you're one of these guys. You have the rogue gene. We will maximize that. We will not tamp you down. Well, the Buccaneers have not tamped that down, and I think this season in multiple ways, as a runner, as a diagnostician, pre-snap to post-snap, what's going on, he's accelerated his game even from 2024. There are things you see him doing on the field with all these personnel shortfalls that he's advanced as a quarterback from last year. He's taken more of the offense over, similar to how Josh Allen, in my mind, has for the Bills in Joe Brady's second full season as the Bills offensive coordinator. You know what? When you see it, it's hard to put a defined, for these 3 reasons, a quarterback really has taken over his scheme, but you know it when you see it. And I think that's the overriding thing that I see from Baker Mayfield this year. He's taken a step forward in responsibility and maturity. Everyone knows he's the guy. Most importantly, Baker Mayfield knows he's the guy. This isn't bravado. He obviously has a lot of that. He's got skins on the wall. He's backed it up, and he's one of those guys now.
I also want to point out that the first year Baker Mayfield was in Tampa, it was obviously a prove-it deal, 1 year, $4 million, $6 million with incentives. Then he got his big money. They signed him to a 3-year, $100 million deal. He's making $33.3 million a year. He's still barely in the top 20 of the highest-paid quarterbacks in the league. I think he's 18th or 19th, and he's playing at this level, 4,500 yards, 40 touchdowns last year. He has got to be the best bargain at quarterback in the NFL that's not on a rookie contract, which is just it's wild that at $33 million they're getting this kind of play from their quarterback.
Well, it's good that he's underpaid too, because this is a guy who you always want to have a chip on his shoulder. And he said, what was it? The Panther, what was his, like, this team let me go and this team let my teammate go, so now we're taking revenge. I mean, that's just who he is.
So let me ask you this. If you had to choose your top 3 quarterbacks you'd want on a game-winning drive, would Baker Mayfield be on that list?
Right now, absolutely. I think you can't argue with reality and you can't argue with the results. And the results are, when he's back there, everybody's confident that he's going to get the job done, regardless of what's around him. That's the thing, because you can look at a lot of these other quarterbacks and say, they can do it too, but they're working with a lot more. I think I'm most confident that if I put Baker back there with the longest yard guys, that he's probably going to figure out a way to make it happen.
Lamar and Josh are my 1 and 2. Pretty obvious. You don't need an expert to figure that out. Right now, if I'm looking at, Stafford, whose team blew a big lead on Sunday, Mahomes, I don't know what that offense is right now. Yeah, I'd probably put Baker in there. If not in the top 3, certainly right up there.
So what do you think? Is Baker Mayfield the most clutch player in the NFL? Let us know in the comments below.